morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Western Group Building Control Committee, I'd like to welcome you all here today to the Loughearn Resort Hotel for annual convention. Liam O'Neill's my name, by the way, and I'll take the credits or the blame, depending on how this goes over the next day and a half, so let me know at the end of it all. In terms of sort of the numbers, I think it's maybe our 17th Building Control Convention. The first one was organised by John Dummigan from South Eastern Group in 1997, and I think we held the next one the following year. So we've run this for 17 years, so we're doing good. I don't know how long we'll last. There's probably at least one more year left in this before we disappear into some sort of woodwork, but it's good to have you all here today, and I hope you all enjoy. We have a wide and varied audience here today. There's been a few sort of changes. It's just like a football team. There's been a few sort of substitutions made at the last minute here. We're sort of trying to fool you all. The first change on the day one agenda is the chair of the Northern Ireland Group Committee, Councillor William King. He's not just quite arrived yet, so instead we'll have Councillor Thomas Kerrigan, chair of the Western Group Committee, so we'll switch him around till day two. The second change is the Minister of the Environment, Mark H. Durkin, is unable to attend, and he's been represented by Brian Moreland from the DOE. Now, Brian has made one request which we have to accede to, which is that he will do the presentation, but he will not take any questions. He's not precluded from taking any questions. And on day two, the second change is that Lorna Stimpson from LABC has been substituted by Philip Hammond. So those are the substitutions. All in that, the programme is good to go, and we hope to keep the schedule, and I'll ask all speakers and delegates to try and adhere to the timetable, because the hotel have their own timetable to work to, as do we also. So we're here today, and we'll be here tomorrow again with slightly reduced area available to us, and we'll be having our dinner here tonight. So those are just a wee bit of the housekeeping. I suppose in terms of maybe fire, there's a fire escape to my left-hand side, another one just at the bottom, or two at the bottom, and one to this side. All of those, if in the event of a fire, there's no recognised fire drills going this morning, and I believe the place for congregation is outside at the lodges, just out on the main thoroughfare. So without any further ado, I'm going to call on the chair of Fermanagh District Council, Councillor Alex Baird, to do the opening address. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Liam. And good morning, everyone, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As Chairman of Fermanagh District Council, it's my pleasure to welcome you all to County Fermanagh and the Loughearn Resort for the 2013 Building Control Convention. I thank you for your kind invitation to be with you this morning. I think on a pound coin it says somewhere about standing on the shoulders of giants, and some group I think had that as a name of an album. But from your point of view, folks, you're walking and in some case may well be sleeping in the beds of the giant world leaders who are here during June. And I hope you spend as much as they spent here when you're here. Now, I understand some of you have travelled a considerable distance to be here today. Indeed, some of our guests have travelled from as far as Finland, Scotland, England and Dublin. So I'd like to especially welcome you to County Fermanagh, and I hope you have an enjoyable and rewarding stay. The Western Group Building Control Service, of which Fermanagh District Council is a member, has organised this two-day convention entitled The Challenge of Change. And obviously with RPA on the horizon, that's very appropriate. So I'm delighted that the Western Group Building Control Service decided to bring its two-day convention to County Fermanagh and the Loughearn Resort. And I hope that you, when you have a chance to see around it and see the beauty of Fermanagh, if you haven't been before, come back, bring your friends and spend your money. I can claim a mileage from the council now that I've done the sales bit. So I must also commend Western Group Building Control Service on what appears to be a varied, topical and engaging two-day programme, which will provide you with an opportunity to discuss and explore different aspects of service delivery and an increasing competitive and changing operating environment as progress on the reform of local government continues. I trust you find the convention both enjoyable and purposeful, and you might visit Fermanagh again, whether for business or pleasure. Thank you.
Well, I think that's, I'd like to thank Councillor Baird for the warm welcome here to Fermanagh, and I know we're going to enjoy ourselves for the next 2 days. Just remind ourselves here, I think the mobiles went off there, just so I would ask you to put them on silence or turn them off, and we're looking forward to, with great speakers here lined up for the two-day conference, and there always has been no disappointment in coming along to the Building Control Group, the Northern Ireland Building Control Group, and I'm looking forward again to listen to some speakers. And this morning I would like to keep as tight as possible to the programme, and today we have someone standing in for the Minister, Mr. Durkin, and we'd asked that person now to come up and deliver their paper, and I don't think he'll be open for questions after he'll deliver so don't give him too hard a time. So a warm welcome to our new first speaker, so thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, elected members, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to address your annual convention this morning on behalf of Minister Durkin. The Minister sends his sincere apologies for missing the event. However, he has asked me to advise that he is well aware of the importance of building control and its affinity to the planning functions currently with DOE. He also recognises the need to bring the statutory role and the expertise of building control groups to bear when designing the delivery of functions by the 11 new councils. We know that the focus of this convention is assessing the key change and challenges impacting on local government in general, the essential building control services that you provide, and the opportunities that there are for improving the delivery of these services. In order to help set some of the context for your deliberations today and tomorrow, I would like to update you on progress with the reform of local government. We are well aware of the important role that local government building control plays in supporting local communities, a role that is set to become more important in 2015. When the Minister took up his new responsibilities in July, he knew that local government reform was going to be one of the most significant areas of work. The Minister also knew that the reform programme could not be achieved without working in partnership with local government, and therefore the opportunity to update you today on progress so far is welcomed. The Minister wants to dispel once and for all any rumours that the reform process has stalled. It remains very much on track for the 1st of April 2015. The 11 councils will have the new statutory powers and responsibilities from that date and will start delivering functions that are transferring from central government. To support their changing role, councils will be equipped with a tested, robust and comprehensive legislative and operational framework. In late September, local government reform moved another step closer following the introduction of the Local Government Bill into the Northern Ireland Assembly. This is the next major step in the legislative process that will make local government reform a reality and will provide the legislative framework necessary to give effect to the Executive's decisions on the future shape of local government. The bill will make provision for strong, modern, statutory governance arrangements that will determine how decisions are made, that will ensure the sharing of positions of responsibility across political parties represented on a council, that will provide protections for the interests of minority communities, and that will determine how improvements in the delivery of council functions can be achieved to reflect the needs of local communities. The Local Government Bill will also establish a new ethical standards regime to include a mandatory local government code of conduct for councillors. It will introduce modern and effective service delivery and performance improvement arrangements, as well as a new duty of community planning and the general power of competence. The bill will establish a statutory partnership relationship between central and local government and will make provision to end dual mandate by placing a bar on MLAs, MPs and MEPs from being elected or being councillors. Now that the bill is in the public domain, this will enable councils and other stakeholders to consider its provisions. The Minister is delighted that the majority of statutory transition committees have held their inaugural meetings. It is a tremendous step forward to be able to say that the local statutory transition teams are open for business. In broad terms, the incoming councils during the shadow period are the decision makers, taking responsibility for ensuring the firm establishment and effective operation of the new council, whereas the role of the Statutory Transition Committee is to undertake preparatory duties to inform the key decisions of the incoming councils following the local government elections in May 2014. There is a lot to do to get local government reform over the finishing line. The timescale remaining is limited, and the Minister is very keen to encourage everyone to engage in the bigger picture and concentrate on the real goal of achieving real benefits for citizens and ratepayers across Northern Ireland. Earlier this year, the Northern Ireland Executive agreed to fund a number of transition elements of the reform programme. £17.8 million has been allocated over the 2013-14 and 2014-15 years to fund the new councils working in shadow form, funding to cover a councillor severance scheme, capacity building programme, change management, staff induction and the winding up of the current 26 councils. The Executive's funding package also includes up to £4 million to cover the cost of council borrowing in relation to ICT costs and systems convergence for 2013-14 and 2014-15. There is also a further commitment of up to £30 million for rates convergence following the creation of the 11 new councils in April 2015. Essentially, this will protect, for a period of time, those whose rate bills may have experienced a significant increase as a result of merging with councils where rates are currently at a higher level. It is expected that this will give the new councils time to settle in and start to make real efficiencies that will bring rates down and bridge the gap that this funding will temporarily fill. One of the most significant new powers being given to councils will be community planning. As you may know, this is a process whereby councils, statutory bodies and communities work together to develop and implement a shared vision for promoting the well-being of an area. Councils will lead and facilitate the process by building partnerships across the different sectors, as well as create effective and genuine engagement with citizens. In a sense, the concept of community planning is one that District Council building control officers will be familiar with. A great example of community planning in action has been the successful dilapidations project led by councils and pioneered by Building Control in partnership with DOE. This project has been successful in tackling the blight caused by derelict and dilapidated properties, whilst bringing tangible social, economic and environmental benefits to local communities across Northern Ireland. So, how will community planning work? The community plan will provide a high-level framework. It will set out the shared vision and long-term social, economic and environmental objectives for an area. It will identify tasks that need to be completed to realise the vision and specify the partner organisations which will carry them out. It will require commitment from all the partners, not just through agreement to a strategic vision, but also through action on the ground. Organisations involved will gain shared understanding of local issues, and they can work together to deliver evidence-based solutions without duplication, so the process is outcome-focused. Mr. Chairman, there will be challenges along the way in bringing together a range of different agencies to develop a shared vision for an area. It will require change to culture, to behaviours and to attitudes. It will also require the capacity for innovation and creativity in responding to local circumstances. It is a long-term and evolving process, but if done right, it will be at the very heart of the new powers that councils will have to shape their area and influence its development along with the strategic priorities it sets through the community plan. The ability of councils to undertake meaningful community planning will be greatly enhanced when planning is transferred to local government in April 2015. Democratically elected local representatives will be responsible for setting their own vision for the future development of their districts. They will prepare local development plans to take account of local issues and aspirations, and also be accountable for most planning decisions in their areas. These will also have a statutory link to the community plan. The transfer of planning represents a major opportunity for the new councils to shape their local areas, proactively influencing investment, tourism, development and regeneration, addressing local requirements and focusing on local opportunities or issues. The appropriate implementation of localised planning policy can stimulate investment, create jobs, and support sustainable growth in the local economy. The integration of the other transferring functions, such as urban regeneration and community development, local economic development, combined with the services councils already deliver, should provide a much better joined-up approach which makes best use of all the strengths available. The expansion and enhancement of a council's role will change the way we plan our cities, towns and rural areas, and it will place a sharper focus on sustainable local economic development. The Department is working to support councils on the integration of planning with other transferring and existing council functions within a new community planning framework. In preparation for reform, DOE will support councils in deciding whether each new council will have its own planning department and whether specialist functions, such as planning issues relating to waste, will be delivered on a shared service basis. Part of this work will include councils determining the method of service delivery for the other functions to be transferred and the locations for service delivery. The Department will continue to set strategic planning policy and provide oversight of the planning system. The Department will also determine a limited number of planning applications that are of regional significance. In terms of all the functions and powers transferring from central to local government, the Executive reached agreement last spring on the precise functions transferring from central to local government, providing more clarity and certainty for the many staff and elected members who will be impacted by the changes. It is essential that the functions transferring are fit for purpose, are properly financed and cost neutral to ratepayers. Work is continuing to undertake a due diligence review of the functions transferring to get a better understanding of the quantum and the precise nature of what local government will be inheriting. This will, in turn, inform councils in designing your organisations to deliver these new functions in the most effective way to meet local needs. The Transfer of Functions Working Group is also commissioning some work around organisational design principles for local government, and this will factor in the work that has already been undertaken through the ICE programme on the future of the group structures in local government that I know many of you will have been involved in. The Minister is well aware of the huge challenge that the reform process presents for all those in local government, and he knows that success will depend on everyone playing their part. Change is never easy, and it is the Minister's view that we must support our people through this, both in the run-up to April 2015 and beyond. Since Minister Durkan took up his post, he has needed to move to provide clarity and certainty for the many staff and elected members who will be impacted by the changes. He recently confirmed that his predecessor's decision that the new chief executives would be appointed by open competition would not be extended to any other posts affected by local government reform. You will also be aware of the consultation on the recruitment process for the new Council Chief Executives issued by the Local Government Staff Commission. The Minister knows that it is essential that elected representatives have ownership of this process, ensuring you get the best candidate to help you lead your organisation going forward. It is hoped that the successful applicants will take up their posts early next year so that they can begin to support you in shaping your new organisations. The Department will also be providing guidance on the appointment of other staff by statutory transition committees, which is being considered presently by the Local Government Reform Joint Forum. There will be a significant learning curve for staff and elected members alike in getting to grips with new responsibilities, new governance arrangements and new geographies. To facilitate this, the Department is providing a significant capacity building and induction budget of £3.6 million over the next 18 months to support all staff in both central and local government, as well as elected members. An extensive programme of support is being developed in partnership with key stakeholders, including NILGA, to ensure you have all the resources you require to fulfil your new roles. The Systems Convergence Working Group recently engaged Gartner's Executive Advisory Services to review the ICT requirements for local government, to plan for both the transition from 26 councils to 11 by April 2015, and to determine the optimum strategic delivery model for local government ICT services thereafter. The recommendations of the Gartner report will enable local government in Northern Ireland to take a lead in shaping the future of citizen-centric service delivery, both in terms of local issues as well as working in tandem with central government departments. This will be an ideal time to rationalise ICT right across the sector so that ratepayers will be able to avail of improved services which will be delivered at no extra cost. It is the Minister's view that it is not acceptable to continue along the path of 26 different sets of systems which essentially deliver the same type of services across the province. There is evidence that considerable savings could be made by councils sharing systems, processes and people. It will require commitment from all council officials and elected members. There will be challenges along the way in bringing together councils that previously worked mainly in isolation in order to develop and deliver a shared vision for the future. It will require changes in culture and attitudes, as well as the capacity to innovate and create real change. If local government can grasp the opportunity to radically change the way that it harnesses and exploits technology, then the outcome must be better services for all citizens, delivered in a more coherent and consistent fashion that has been the case for many years. As I said earlier, the Executive has committed up to £4 million to help local government to finance borrowings for ICT convergence, and the Minister would encourage all key stakeholders to exploit this to the maximum degree. So, what lies ahead over the next 18 months? Local government reform is well underway, but there is still much to be done. The Minister will drive the programme to ensure that we reach the goal of stronger, more efficient and more effective local government. Local government which is focused on our citizens and responsive to local needs. The Minister hopes that the issues I have touched on today on his behalf will help set the scene in this challenging but ultimately very rewarding period of change. Finally, can I say on behalf of the Minister, I do hope that you enjoy the rest of the convention. The Minister, Mr. Chairman, looks forward to hearing about the outcomes of your deliberations in due course. Thank you.